Well, hello and welcome to Reginaldesq. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Tier 6 Swedish medium tank, the Strv 74. So is it any good? Well, let me answer that with this little song. When I first saw the stats for this tank, I thought that it looked quite fantastic. And then I took it for a drive and I discovered this thing is made of plastic. Well, don't get shot in the tracks, they're not steel, they're made from elastic. Now, sometimes I do really bad in tanks that are quite good. And sometimes I do really good in tanks that are quite average, like this one. Alright, so whilst you're recovering from my tune, I'll tell you why I think this tank is average. It has a fantastic feature, which is 15 degrees of gun depression, which is really, really good. And it has good gun handling, and that's it. It has terrible armor and terrible mobility. And it kind of balances it out, I guess, so it becomes like an average tank. Now, that said, I did have a pretty good win rate. I've got a little mod here that gives a bit of extra information on the tank. So I've got a 56% win rate in the tank after 147 games, which is better than my normal win rate of about 51%. So from that perspective, you can say, well, I'm doing okay in it. I did get a mark of excellence, as you can see, and I'm currently on 72.46 as far as the MOE rating goes. So you could say that I've done okay in this tank, and it's done alright by me. I originally played this tank frontline, and just popping over hills shooting frontline enemies. But you don't last very long, even though you do help your team a lot. You don't last long, you don't earn much XP, you don't have very big games. Because basically when you're shooting at your enemy using gun depression, they often, of course, get a chance to shoot back at you. Now, sometimes you will bounce off them because they have pretty good armor, but they will never bounce off you if they hit you, because you only have 20 millimeters of armor on your turret all around. And that means that anytime you're hit, you are pinned. There's no lucky bounces in this tank. You might get a lucky bounce off your hull, which has 55 millimeters at the front, if you're really lucky. But this tank is can't take hits. And if you end up in a brawling situation where you're trying to circle another tank, it's not very good at it. So let's then have a quick comparison. I've only got a few tanks here to compare with because I didn't want to. There's too many tanks to compare, and it's going to take too long. But these are a few of the tanks I think are really good at this tier. The Cromwell, everyone knows, is an awesome tank. The T-3485 is a tank I have had my highest XP game ever in World of Tanks with that tank. And the Easy 8, the American Sherman, is popular and also has good gun depression, so I've included it here. So as far as their guns go, we've got 150 damage on the Swedish tank, which is good damage per shot. 135, 180, and 115 on the other tanks. We also have really good penetration, in fact the best penetration here, 148, which is great. Similar to the other two, except the Sherman has 128, which is a fair bit lower. Now, the rate of fire is balanced with damage. So you can see we're the second slowest rate of fire in this bunch, but that's because we have the second highest amount of damage. The best rate of fire goes to the tank with the least damage, which is Sherman. So you can see that's kind of balanced. Now, the turret traverse, though, we have the slowest turret traverse in the bunch. The Cromwell is fantastic at 50, but we're 37.5. The Easy 8, 40.6, and the T-34, 47, which is also very high. So very slow turret traverse for a medium tank. 15 degrees of gun depression is the best out of any medium tank. The second best is the Easy 8 at 12 degrees, which is also really, really good. The difference being the Easy 8 has fantastic turret and hull armor. So while it's taking a shot, if you shoot back at it, a lot of shots will bounce, whereas they won't off our tank. The Cromwell has 8 degrees, so it's still usable in a hill fighting situation, and it also has 63 turret armor, same as the Easy 8, so it can also take a hit. The T-3485 has also reasonable turret armor, has very good hull armor, but only has 7 degrees of gun depression, not really a hill fighter, but very well armored. We only have 55 at the front, which is way less than the others on the hull armor. And sorry, the T-3585 got mixed up, has great turret armor at 90 turret armor and 76 on the Cromwell. So and 76 on the Easy 8, but 20 mils for us. So anyway, you can see that the turret armor wise we're trash. Now, you would assume that because we have terrible armour, we will be fast and have good traverse. That would be a reasonable assumption, but unfortunately it's not correct. So our top speed is 45, which is the slowest out of this bunch. The next slowest is the Easy 8 at 48, which is only a little bit quicker. But the others, T445 has 54, and the Cromwell has 64. So we are a slow tank. Our reverse speed of 18 is the same as the Easy 8 and a little bit slower than the other two. So traverse speed, track traverse, we are the slowest of the bunch yet again. 34.4 versus 41 on the Easy 8, which is faster than all of the others. 39 and 37. So what this means is if you're in a circling match, like a tank starts circling or you're trying to circle another tank, even heavy tanks, some heavy tanks can keep their gun on you while you're circling them. This thing is terrible at turning whilst moving, terrible at turning on the spot, and has slow turret traverse as well. It's really, really not good at close range fighting, hasn't got armour, and it can't manoeuvre very well. So really the only thing it has is gun depression, and you really have to work on finding places to make that work. And like I said, try not to do it on front line, try and do it far away. Now the view range in this tank is 360, which is the same as all of them except for the Easy 8, which has 370. Signal range is fantastic, but who cares about signal range? So yeah, I think safest way to play this is a bit like a tank destroyer, but using hills as a tank destroyer and bushes as well if possible, and then coming up and using hills at close range towards the end where you're not going to get out damaged. I didn't actually compare the hit points, did I? So let's have a quick look at our hit points here, if I can find them. Hit points are 750, which is the same as all of them except for the T-3485 only has 720. So we've got average hit points, let's say. Alright, so I guess now we can go into some gameplay and have a look. I fitted a gun rammer to this tank to speed up the loading time. Also have coated optics. You can do a bit of spotting, especially if you're on the front line popping over hills. You will get a fair bit of spotting damage in some games. And I have vents to also try and improve the loading yet again. The loading time is a real key on this tank and view range as well. So, yeah, also the camouflage in this tank isn't too bad, and you can actually have reasonable, like I said, reasonable spotting games. My crew is 100% trained, currently 89% concealment, snapshot, smooth ride, and concealment again. That'd probably be a bit lower than that in the actual gameplay though. The map is Highway, and it's a tier 8 game, so we are bottom tier, which is of course not what you want. But anyway, generally speaking, medium tanks go to where I'm going, the left side, and the heavy tanks head to town. The poorly armoured tank destroyers normally come up this way as well, and the heavily armoured ones go towards town. That's normally how it goes, but not always. In this occasion though, I check first to see if there's any other mediums going out here, because if you're the only medium that goes out here, it's a suicide sentence. But I see there's a few people going out, and we've got a scout, so I'm quite happy to go out this way. Now I do think about stopping where the bulldog is, with the bush there and a bit of a hill, and then I think, nah, you know why? Because if you sit still in this thing, people snipe you, and I'm just going to push forward. Because the other thing is, with this, I've noticed this position here, somebody needs to push forward, and I notice the tanks that should be pushing forward here aren't, so I decide I'm going to have to do it. And as expected, I copped the hit. I did expect to cop at least one hit coming out here, which is a Cromwell there, but he's now been spotted by us, so we are getting lots of spotting damage here, even though there's not much else I can do to him. And we pull in here. And that's the reason why you really need to move up here, is so that people like that can't sit there and just spot everyone. Because if you just sit back there, people just start getting nailed and no one can figure out why. But you really need, someone needs to push up this spot straight away. Normally it would be a medium with a bit of armour, but in my case, since no one else would do it, it's me. So I think we're getting the spotting on this guy, so although I don't appear to be getting the spotting damage for it. So I pop out there and track him, because I'm not confident of penetrating the front of a T-150. And we are now at least getting spotting damage for the track. So this time I try and put one into him, but it says tank destroyed, but that wasn't me. That was somebody else destroyed it. My shot bounced, I think. So I've currently done no damage at all. I've been hit twice by that Cromwell, so I really want to get a shot at him then, but no. Now I assume I've been spotted and I've got no armour, so I'm going to hide behind this building. The other guy, our tank that was out in the open there, he's now been destroyed just then, so I probably did the right thing by taking cover in this building. You can see there's a hole in my turret where the Cromwell hit me. I'll just I might be about to take a shot here, so I won't show you yet. So Jackson, side of, and we get him. You can see the gun is actually quite accurate at range. I wish this gun was on the Swedish tank destroyers, because their guns are terrible. Yeah, you can see there I got hit in the turret and there. So you can see the turret armour is useless. So I decide now to move forward. These guys are close enough now. We've got a UDES 03, I think that's a tier 8 Swedish tank destroyer. Also, of course, has no armour, so he's just been wiped out. At least we've got a hit into him, and another tank's been spotted over here. He's a long way away, and he's dead. Too late. Alright, I might speed this up a little bit now while we're moving. Speed it up to 4 times. Now slow it down again as we get to the top of this hill. So back to normal speed. As you can see, it struggles a bit up hills, this thing. Now, other than that first little bit, I'm not really going front line now. And now, as you can see, I'm letting the other guys spot. I'm hanging back and just trying to get opportunistic. I think the Tiger's going to come through here, so I'm just waiting for him. And right on cue, he rolls up and we get a shot into the side of him. Waiting for reload in cover, pull out again. And we can see his turret is side on, which is good for us. You can see the accuracy there. If this was on the Swedish tank destroyers, they'd probably be alright tank destroyers. But they're terrible. Well, the lower tier ones are anyway. They're terrible because they can't hit those sort of shots. So, yep, good gun depression. That's pretty much what this tank has going for it. And if games where other people are doing their job, like spotting and stuff, you can do pretty well. But when you've got games where the scouts hide on the back lines, you end up thinking, well, I'll have to go to the front line because no one else is doing it, and you kind of get wasted in this tank. Well, that was probably never going to penetrate the IS, but you never know. I might have got his cupola. That would be probably asking a little bit much from this gun, but you never know your luck. I'm not moving forward because I'm a little bit worried about being attacked from the right, but I just decide, well, I've got to go for it now, so we're moving up. Looks like in the town we have pretty much lost now. The IKV-65 is retreating, and their tanks are now moving out of town towards us, so pretty much lost town. So I'm going to try and use the hill fighting ability of the tank again here. Not sure where to go to the IS, so this other tank that just lit up over here. Just going to see if I can light it up again, and we do. It's a KV2. Front, don't think we're going to pen. No, we bounce. I had a green indicator, but we've seen now, is that artillery? That is artillery. And I think we aim too high and hit the beam, so I'm aiming a bit lower. And we get a good shot into him for 261. It's good damage for this gun. So average 150, so that must have been like maximum damage for this gun. Unless somebody else's damage was added to it or something. Alright, so once again, look at the gun depression on this gun. I probably came out higher than I needed there. We track the IS there. Yeah, this is a gun I actually feel confident aiming for east spot. So we track him and then we put one to his cupola. Ooh, we're getting aimed at by a KV2. I fire and miss that time, firing on the move. Not good on the move, the gun. Not so good. Actually, it's alright on the move, but yeah, typical. I guess most guns miss on the move. So see if we can get his cupola again. We don't need to. Side of his turret. Gee, that's a gutsy Cromwell driver there. Looked like he was going to try and ram the IS. So obviously that shot was going to bounce. I was just trying to track him, actually, going for his tracks there. Go for his tracks again here. And we actually get a critical hit on his tracks. I don't know if we actually tracked him, but anyway, Cromwell finishes him off. And now we've got the KV2. They've only got 2 tanks left, the KV2, and we get one in the side of his turret. Now, there's the other tank. Wow, we spotted him late. He's got 2 shots into me, and we get one into him, but I think he's actually finished off by the Cromwell, which was fortunate for us, because 154 points, 1 or 2 more hits, he would have finished us. Maybe 1 more hit would have finished us. So the Cromwell saved our butt just then. Cromwell's put a hit in there to the KV2, putting pressure on him so we can hopefully get a shot from here. No, we're going to have to move up. But this hilly terrain is perfect terrain for this tank. As you can see, it's not fast at getting over it, but it doesn't have to expose, we don't have to expose much to get shots. Alright, so that's the end of the game. So that was a Class 1 game in the tank. We managed to get a Confederate badgy thing and hit a lot of tanks, did a bit of spotting. Let's have a look at the next screen. So we finished on top for our team. So it was a Tier 8 game, so obviously we didn't finish on top for damage or anything, but being a Tier 8 game, and we did pretty good damage, but you also did a bit of spotting. So 1091 XP is a Class 1 in this tank, so it's pretty hard to get mastery in it. Let's have a look at the next screen. 24 rounds fired, 18 hit. Of the 18 that hit, only 10 penetrated, and some of that was because we were tracking tanks and hitting heavy tanks and stuff like that. 1,385 damage. Most of it actually was medium range, not long range. We received 4 hits, they all penetrated. Like I say, you won't bounce anything in this. Spotted 2 vehicles, 9 vehicles damaged, 2 destroyed. 1,131 spotting as well. So a good mix of spotting and actual damage in this game. Made a bit of money, but generally I found this tank, which I didn't mention in the review, it does get a lot of module and crew damage. So if you're using repair kits and stuff, it's very expensive. You don't really make much money in this tank. The map is Erlenberg, and once again it's a Tier 8 game. There's only 2 Tier 8s though instead of the normal 3 in this game, and that is a T-34 and a Super Pershing on the enemy team. So moving on up, actually I might make my map a bit smaller. I think it's better for replays. I forgot to do it in the last one. Yeah, that'll do. So moving to the classic sort of tank destroyer, light tank position. It's a position where you can spot and also shoot from, and really good for tanks with good gun depression. We've got an E25 here who was also, looks like he was going to come up here. Overpowered thing that it is. Alright. So you can see I don't actually have to put my tank very far forward to have a good view. Might just speed it up to 2 times until we spot something. Oh, I'll slow it down again. We spotted a Easy 8 Sherman on the enemy team and put one straight into him. He's not retreating very quickly, so another one. Oh, he's doing the zigzag trick. Good on you for doing the zigzag trick. Sometimes it works. But this gun is really accurate. I really wish this gun was on the tank destroyers, because they are terrible with accuracy. Anyway. And he's back again. Poor bugger. Isn't anybody else doing any spotting on your team? Oh, yes there is. Another Easy 8. I don't know where their scout is or what he's doing, but he's not helping them in this situation, that's for sure. We get one into that guy as well there. Spreading the love around. Can we get him again? I'm hunting. I'm looking around to see if I can see any part of an outline there. But no, he must be behind a rock or something. Now, we've got tanks moving forward now. Oh, there he is. And we nail him. Yes. Alright, looks like it's time to move forward. Everyone is moving forward, and me being super cautious, I've waited for ages. And now I'm moving forward. Some more tanks are being spotted. I see the enemy scout over there on the right. I just figure instead of going, I could see my team's handling that. I might see if I can get a free shot at this scout while I'm here. And he's behind a building, so we can't. But you know what? First I decided I'm going to move up. I said, nah, I can't move up on this side because the scout will spot me. I'm just going to go for this scout and see if I can eliminate him. Normally I wouldn't do it, but because my team appears to be doing really well, the team that was with me, I figure they've got it under control. I'm going to see if I can go and get this scout. It's a very risky move because I could get shot from the other side of the river here, get spotted and shot. But I just thought, what the hey. Let's see if we can do it. I'm a bit worried now because I haven't spotted him yet. I thought he was... Oh, here he is. So proximity spotted him. He's now doing a runner. I'm going to try and use the auto aim function. Got it. And we put one into him. I really find it hard to use auto aim because I've got bad ping. I I think it's because I've got bad ping, that if you don't get auto aim like exactly on them, or even slightly ahead of them, it won't work, because it thinks the tank isn't actually where you're pointing. So he's almost dead. One more. Oh, somebody took our kill. Mom, I took my kill. Anyway, that's okay. It's a team game and the whole team has to have a go. So moving forward again, now that we've got rid of that scout and we won't get spotted from the side. No nasty tank destroyers will be blasting us as we move along this side of the ridge now. And what have we got here? Ah, one of those said nasty tank destroyers, the Stutterer Mill, and we get one into the side. He says, get me out of here. Actually, he's trying to face us. I think he's going to have a shot at us. We get another one. Can we reload? Ah, he's decided to... Maybe he couldn't see us. Don't know. Now, that last shot there, that looked like I got the kill shot, I didn't actually kill him. Someone else got the kill. I think that was stolen by a bit of lag, that one. Bad ping. Michelle hit him and somebody else blew him up. That happens occasionally. So I was moving along his flank just in case I could spot something like this, and I missed, hit the ground. Probably would have landed behind it as well. And I fire here, but it's pointless really. And Super Pershing, and we've got the side of the Super Pershing. Fantastic. Now, some people will say, why aren't you aiming for his front wheel? It might have looked like I was aiming for the front wheel in that first shot, but it's just because of lag. If I aimed for the front wheel on a moving tank, chances are I'll just miss the tank. So I have to aim pretty much for trying to hit the centre of mass. Otherwise, yeah, when you've got bad ping, you do it on a stationary tank, no problem, but on a moving tank, you just got to go for the greatest mass, pretty much. And now the T-29, I figure I'm too slow because I lose so much speed when I turn and everything that I'm not going to get over there. So I'm going to try and shoot him from across the river, see if we can get one into him. Don't quite have a gap there. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, he disappears just as I get there. I fire one, but it went into the dirt. And just waiting. Hopefully he'll get spotted again. There he is. The turret. Well, you can see the accuracy. The shot went exactly where I aimed it, but we were too late. End of the game. So that was a class 1. We did good damage in that game, but we didn't do much spotting. So, hit a few tanks. Not that many, really, but because we were Tier 6... Tier 6 in a Tier 8 game, so we got a lot of XP, 1,057, and we did 2,229 damage, which is more than anyone on our team, but not as much as the T-29 on their team. He was their last tank left alive. He did 2,4, so missed out on getting a high caliber there. Let's have a look at the next screen. So far, 23 shots, 15 of them hit. Some of that was tanks we actually hit, but they were dead by the time our shell arrived. So that's just the gun is quite accurate. 15 hits, 15 penetrations, which is pretty awesome. I think actually a couple of those might have been just tracking that counted as pens. 2,279 damage, 1,100 from over 300 meters. So once again, gun is accurate. Enemy vehicle spotted 2, damage 5, destroying 2, 327 spotting damage, so a little bit but not a lot. And 35 profit, although any repair kits I used wouldn't be in this because I bought a bunch of them. There you go. Thank you for watching my review of the STRV-74. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more reviews and gameplay, please subscribe to Reginaldesq. Have fun.